everyone, and welcome to our Design for Learning What's Working webinar. We're really excited to have you here. My name is Molly Bennett, and I am one of the learning design partners, owners of Design for Learning. And we're a professional development company that likes to work with schools and teachers all over the country and really just helping people understand what's happening in technology and education. How do we use devices? And how do we use all this technology with a purpose? So as we are starting this What's Working series, we have just found that there's people doing amazing things all over, and we'd like to continue to share what some people are doing in order to hopefully inspire you to do something similar or roll with that in a different way, a different idea that you have for your classroom, for your curriculum. So we're just excited to be here. So Lauren is also here behind the scenes. She is my business partner, and she's here in the chat. So if there's anything that you are wondering about or questions that you have, please feel free to share in that space too. So again, just thanks for being here. So my name is Molly Bennett, and I was a 4th and 5th grade teacher at a school district here in Minnesota. And I am now then moved on to the district office and did professional development for technology with all of the different schools. And now we run this professional development company with schools all over the country. So we're a Google professional development partner and Canva professional development partner. And really what happened with this project is I have 2 little kids still. And so I have somebody that just finished 2nd grade, and I have a son who just finished kindergarten. And, you know, as I tiptoe around this being my business and, you know, what I do for my life, I always kind of give the teachers a little heads up of, you know, that I'd be happy to come in and help. I'd be happy to come in and do a project. And my daughter's 2nd grade teacher took me up on it this year. So I am going to just share a little project that I did with a 2nd grade classroom here in Minnesota, where we were really starting to just kind of explore what is AI and what does that even look like at an elementary and even primary grade level. And so as we did that project, we just thought it was so much fun and that it would be a really fun opportunity to share with others too. So even if you're not a primary school teacher, even if you don't teach 2nd grade, I think that this kind of project would be a really fun one to think about putting in your content and curriculum. In fact, I kind of wrote up, you know, what we did at this project into a little bit of a blog post, which I can share with you in a little bit. And I went to Gemini and I put it in Gemini and I added the document and I said, okay, I'm a 7th grade science teacher. Take this kind of idea of an AI project that was done and give me some ideas as far as what I could do in my content and grade level as a project that would be similar. And it was really interesting to see what it did. So we might do that at the end a little bit and just share how you can really personalize it to what you're teaching and your grade level. So as an overview, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the project, and we're going to go step by step in a little bit of the hands-on of what we actually did. So this was an end of the year project that we did in 2nd grade. It was interesting to hear my daughter start talking about AI in different ways, some of it being very truthful and interesting that she was talking about how AI is used in the correct way. And then she was talking about AI as it would appear in our world. And it wasn't really exactly talking about that isn't exactly what AI is. It might be something different. So when we were going to go in and do a project, we were thinking that obviously AI literacy for the students is something they need to know what is AI and what AI is not. And it's interesting just as you really start digging into it to start seeing what AI means and where you start seeing it in our world. It becomes pretty crystal clear to the kids that when they're watching Netflix and Netflix suggests another video based on something they've watched and that's AI, they start understanding how AI is a technology that learns from something that a human does and kind of create something new. So that was really kind of what we wanted to start doing, is building some of that foundational AI literacy. Then we wanted to do some technology with creativity and a little bit of heart. And so we really talked about how we could build classroom community around using AI in this second grade legacy project. So we'll kind of jump in here. I'll be in and out of these slides, and then we'll dive into a couple resources that I have. We're going to demo and do, as well as we go in there too. So this particular image was one of the results of the AI project that we did. So what we did is our goal was twofold. We wanted to build the AI literacy within the second graders, and we wanted to leave a legacy, something for the next year's incoming second grade class. Our teacher did a really great job talking about basic needs and how our basic needs are met throughout the year, and those being love and belonging, power, making choices with freedom, how do we have fun, and what are some of those really important things that we need to do in order to survive? So food and water and snacks and eating healthy and things like that. So the students kind of explored, like, as they looked back on their year, what were some ways that their basic needs were met in second grade that they could then tell next year's incoming class about ways that they're going to have fun in second grade, ways that they can use their power and their individual choice and freedom in second grade. What are some really fun ways that you can learn about love and belonging and friendship in second grade? So what the kids did is they kind of thought about that unique basic needs that was met, and then we created an AI image of what they sort of thought as their way that basic needs were met. And then we ended up creating an AI generated class song for them as sort of a lasting anthem. So you'll see as we kind of walk through that we're building AI literacy, we're using some creativity and creation of AI, and then we're sort of having a final product that we can leave the students with. It was really fun. So the first thing that we did is we talked about, what does legacy even mean? What are some of these basic needs? And they were able to just kind of think through some of their kind of, greatest hits or best memories of second grade. And then what we had to do is we had to dig in and we had to talk about what is AI and what is not AI. So we talked really a lot about a robot brain. And I think as we talk with students about AI literacy and understanding what is AI and what is not AI, is that we need to remember that AI is the computer and we are the humans. And I think there are probably some middle school, high school, and adults that need to have that same understanding, because AI is getting so conversational. It's getting so empathetic. It's also getting so complimentary that we need to also remind ourselves that we're the human in charge and that AI is a computer. So we talked a little bit about AI being a robot brain. And so they looked a little bit we talked just about, how does AI learn from patterns that humans make? And so that Netflix or Disney or your account of Spotify or something, it learns behaviors from a human and then creates something new for us. So we put Common Sense Media, if you haven't seen them, they have a fun game called Two Truths and AI. It's a little trickier than you think, but what it does is present you with a couple movie posters. You and the students can put those movie posters up and you can see which one do you think was created with AI, which one was not created with AI. And really what it does is it just encourages the conversations of putting your thinking cap on, putting your magnifying glass on. Is this created by AI? Is this not created by AI? What would be some of the ways that we could tell if it was created by AI? We did a couple fun, just kind of, random on the spot creation searches of things to decide if things were made by AI. Spelling mistakes. A lot of the times, maybe potentially kids don't have the right amount of fingers if it's creating an image. And so it really is an interesting way for the kids to start putting on that thinking brain. So I'll share with you a little bit about what we did. I have a lot of these slides linked for you as well that we'll be able to share. But this was just sort of our overview of what is AI. It was a little slide deck that we went through with the second graders to talk about what AI is, how it's like a robot brain, that humans are the ones that use AI, And AI is something that is a computer that learns from our patterns. So we talked about what is AI, and a lot of these are coming from either the Day of AI, which is great resources for you, and even kind of family resource kits, slide decks, lessons for you to use. So this is a little compilation of that. And then we really talked about even Google Maps, something you use probably every day, is using and learning patterns based on human. So what is AI? What is not AI? We played again and kind of tested our definition of, is it just kind of giving a static fact or answer, or is it creating something new based on learning patterns? Coco the Doodle, if you have not seen Coco the Doodle, I'm not going to play this for you, but as we engage with social media, as the students are watching ads that may potentially come through YouTube or things like that, they need to start recognizing what is AI and what is not AI, what might be real. And so Coco the Doodle is one of our favorite ones. The kids sort of got attached to it too, and it's a talking dog. And so, we had a lot of good conversations about what makes this AI, how did somebody create this, what might be some of the tools that they used. So we talked about really one of the best things for AI literacy for students and teachers is when you see an image that might be made by AI, we kind of have these alerts now in our head. Is this real? Do we have detective glasses? Is that a right amount of fingers? Are the words spelled correctly? Does that animal just look too perfect? Is that animal doing a dance that it maybe wouldn't really in real life be able to do? So being a detective and asking those questions is really just an important part of what the students need to be starting to do as they learn about AI. So you wonder who really made this? Like, did a human do it? Did a real person do this? Did a robot do that? So these were all these kinds of things that we talked about with the students just on the first day of what is AI. Another really important thing with the students is like, you know what, if I don't know and if I'm not sure, check with a grown-up, right? Like, so we're talking about primary ages, we're talking about 8-year-olds here. So who's a trusted adult that we could go to? In the world of AI, we think it's pretty cool and it makes interesting things. It also makes really silly mistakes, and that's what we would call a hallucination at this grade. And AI, the computer, does not have real feelings. So even though it's sort of congratulating you or empathizing with you or saying something, the human is still the boss. So the brain in the human is still the person that's in charge. So there's a couple more things on here. We actually did a little activity where the students were tried to program a robot, another student in the class, by just trying to get from one side of the classroom to the other. And they learned about prompting and telling the robot really specific instructions instead of just walk forward, how many steps to go. And it really kind of started this idea of talking about when we get to create something with AI, how can we communicate or prompt AI to do what we're hoping it to do? The more specific we can be, the better. So we then talked about what the secret is in writing a prompt, and we decided to be chefs in this particular area. And we talked about the different parts of our prompt as ingredients. And so what we are going to do is, as a chef, we're going to mix our ingredients together to create something brand new using AI. So these were sort of our activities. The prompt is the recipe. It's the special set of instructions that we give to AI. We are very specific in what ingredients go into our prompt, and AI only knows what we tell it to do. So we need to be specific. Again, then we played Two Truths in AI from Common Sense Media, which was fun. And then we talked about how AI works, that it uses the ingredients that we give it, and it mixes the ingredients up to give us some new ideas based on what it's learning from lots of ideas that are, already in the computer. So the first thing we did, which was really fun, is just sort of live and in person, as we said, MasterChef matchup. Like, have you ever seen a cat that's created out of broccoli? Kids were like, no, absolutely not. So we just opened Gemini, which we'll do right now. I have a different one open, but we'll just open up the Gemini app. And this was a fun thing to do with students. So if you've been in the Gemini app, this is the one that we use within the students and in the Google Workspace. But the little toolbox here within Gemini shares a little place down here. It used to be called Nano Banana. Now they're just talking about creating an image. And we're going to just say, create a cat made out of broccoli. We didn't give it a lot of prompts, so we didn't give it a lot of really specific ingredients of what it was. So it's just kind of constructing the broccoli cat. But this was the way that the kids could see that it was, mixing up ingredients that, wouldn't happen in real life. And that when we put them into Gemini, the computer can do things that are a little bit different. And now we have a cat made out of broccoli. And the kids were just going crazy over, and this is really fun. I'm going to actually download this because we'll use this in a minute with something else. Once we did, just the master chef mashup, what we did is we had each of the kids think, AI can create patterns out of lots of different things. And so what we did is I sent every kid back to their table, and I gave them a blank piece of paper, and I said, okay, each one of you kind of put up your protectors in your folders so you're not seeing each other's drawings, but I want each of you to draw a space traveling penguin eating a slice of pizza on the moon. So we sent them back. We gave them about 3 minutes. I said, when you're done, come back and meet us on the floor. And what was really fun is that we came back with one prompt and lots of ideas. So how did each kid interpret a space traveling penguin eating a slice of pizza on the moon? And that was really fun for them to see that that's kind of what AI is doing, is it's learning from the patterns of lots of different people that have done it before and creating something new. So of course we had to go to Gemini, and we said in the images, create a space traveling penguin eating a slice of pizza on the moon. And as we created all of these images and sort of did the broccoli cat and this one too, we put on those thinking caps. We wondered, does that look real? What was interesting about it? Did it have as many fingers? Did it do anything funny that might have, been a little bit out of the ordinary? One of my favorite AI lessons is like, well, that's interesting, or that's weird. So particularly in this here, we've got a space traveling penguin eating a slice of pizza on the moon. This one is pepperoni. Not sure, one of our AI literacy questions would have been like, how is that penguin eating a piece of pizza through his helmet? That's strange. That might be an interesting way that we might know that this was created by AI and it's not real. So kind of using some of those AI literacy things along the way. I'm going to also just download this full-size image too, as we'll talk about. We might use it in a little bit as well. But that was a really fun way to just kind of talk through the different ways that AI can create things based on the same prompt. So we talked about how they are the chef, and the next day we're going to talk about the recipe. Okay, so that was sort of day one, was just demystifying the robot brain and just kind of really talking about what is AI. The second part, we went in and I said, okay, we're going to put on our chef hats, and now we are going to actually create our prompts. So we think back towards those legacy projects. So what were some of those really exciting ways that our basic needs were met, or our need of love and belonging, our need of freedom were met? And the kids were able to do that and sort of write out a recipe that would allow Gemini or AI Nano Banana to create an image of their legacy project. So we'll go into the second day of slides that I have for you as well. So we're going to map our experience, the 5 basic needs. We're going to write, each student is going to write their own prompt. They are going to explore different styles of images that can be created. And that was kind of interesting because it was almost an art lesson within the lesson of just kind of talking about how descriptive they wanted to be with the style of the image they were going to create. And then we're going to connect it to storytelling. So again, I have my slides that I used for that day with our 2nd grade literacy project. And so really just at the beginning, we talked about those basic needs. What were the basic needs? What might those basic needs look like in our classroom? So if we wanted to, talk about the basic need of love and belonging, we might talk about 2 students sitting on the rug sharing a fun book. We might talk about a big high five at the classroom door for accomplishing a big goal. So you can go through these too, and if this is something that relates to your class, but we talked about what does power look like when you finally finish a hard project? Where's a place in our room where you get to make a choice or have freedom? What does fun look like? And what are some things for survival? So then we talked about the recipe card. And the AI recipe card was going to have the main ingredients, so talking about what basic need was met, the characters that are in the picture. So when you're thinking about this activity or this idea or this event that happened, who's in it? What's the setting of that? So being really descriptive as to where you are when that basic need is met. And then we'll talk about the action. So what's happening in the picture? What are people actually doing? And then the style, which is where we talked about the art lesson, all the different kinds of different styles that the kids could choose in order to, get a picture that looked a little bit different. And that was really fun. So I talked about my example recipe. So the topic was fun in second grade. One of the things I got to do as a parent was go in and play math games once a month. So we talked about how my picture would have 4 second grade students in there playing in the classroom math games with parents. The actions would be kids are rolling dice, playing cards, cheering, and in the style. So what style did I want it to be? Everybody's kind of obsessed with these graphic novels right now and cartoons. So therefore, my prompt looked like create a cartoon drawing like a graphic novel, 4 second grade students rolling dice, playing cards, writing down scores. There's a lot of cheering and excitement, but some people are not winning. The students are playing math games with parent volunteers. Have this picture show how we have fun in second grade. So we shared this with the kids, and this was the exact Gemini image that I had when I created that prompt. And so we talked, a little bit about how would we know that AI created this? What were the things that it picked up on? Are there any words we would change in our prompt in order to get something a little bit different? As we did these prompts with the students too, we definitely, they changed things a little bit as they saw the images that came out. It allowed them to create more detail or add a different aspect of the setting, which was really fun. So we definitely talked about like how addition was spelt wrong, and there were some fun things. So I went in to talk about fun images with styles too. So I had Canva sort of create a little presentation for me on all the different styles that we could potentially use. So I did a little AI search on like what are styles of images that students could use. And so I had a great little image go through here that talked about, how you could make it look like an illustration. You might make it look like a sketch. You might make it look like a 3D render, a realistic photograph. It might be watercolor. It might be cartoon, graphic novel, realistic, vibrant neon colors, which you'll see many of the students loved that one. So we had to go through just a few of the different styles that the kids could choose. So the next thing we did is we gave everybody their recipe card, and I can make this a little bit bigger, although then I can't see it. So yeah, we'll just keep it like this. This is fine. So this was the recipe card that we had created. So the kids had this in, paper pencil. It was not on a device. It was not on a computer. They were writing with their hands, and their pencils. So they circled their basic ingredient. They talked about who was in the picture, the setting that had happened, the action, what it was doing, and the style that they wanted. So they had a couple different words that they chose in each one of them, which was really fun. And so then the next day they came back and they took their recipe card and they wrote their prompt. So this was kind of, create a blank, what style of the characters plus the action at the setting to show how we meet the basic need of fun in second grade, or to create how we, or to show how we meet the need of freedom in our classroom. So it was really fun that the kids all kind of came back and I ended up typing all those up because we really needed them in a typed format. And so if you had enough time that the students could do it, if they're old enough, you could do this all on a device to start with. But we were able to go and do that. So what was really fun is I got to sit individually with each of the kids and go through and put their prompts into Gemini, tweaking them a little bit as we go in order to get some of their designs. So I'm going to go in and we will share with you. I'll come back to the song in just a second. Let's see if I can. Where did I put the slide deck of? All right, so here is our slide deck of the AI Legacy project and each of the images that the kids created. Now this one you'll see is a video, which I'm going to show you on a little bit of the next step. This was my daughter Hadley's. She went in and she said, 4 friends eating lunch in the cafeteria, making a choice as to what they wanted to eat for lunch, one of her favorite parts of the day. So as the kids wrote the prompts and we put them in, there were a lot of Lego generation. This one is, of course, a sketch. This was about, I think, getting along and kind of making sure that everybody felt included out at the playground. The students did a really fun full second grade play performance called the Wackadoo Zoo that a lot of students chose. Here was another one that a student talked about with math games, different pixel art. This one was in the like Pixar cartoon animation of kind of the independent choice time that they had at the beginning of the day. So each of these were the AI images that the students were able to create based on their prompt. This one was one of their field trips. They went to the Minnesota History Center. This was a funny one about throwing Oreos in second grade and it's snack time or something. So anyways, each of these were really fun. What I haven't showed you is the next thing that we did actually is we took each of these and we put them into Canva. So I'm going to just do that really quickly with you because I think there's a fun part if we get into, let me just go into my different account really quick. If you go into presentation, so this is what we did with each of the students' images. And if we went to uploads, I'm just going to upload one of the AI. Let's do the broccoli cat. Oh, here's another one that we've done before too. So as we put the AI image into the Canva presentation, one of the things that the students did too, which I'm not sharing just because of personal information along the way, but we made the whole slide deck of all the students' images. And what they did is they went in, then I created a presentation that anybody with the link could edit so that each of the students could collaborate and add to it. But in Canva, if you're in this uploads feature over on the left-hand side, there's also a little part where you can record yourself. And so the students grabbed iPads, went over to record yourself. They said, record a talking head. And as they were able to, as you can see, I now pop into the presentation. Each of the students clicked record and they had a little paragraph that shared their prompt that they had put in and said, you know, as my second grade legacy, I would like to share that the way that you can get your basic need met of freedom and choice is by, you know, sitting with your friends at lunch and having a fun time. So that was a really fun way. I'm not sharing that final presentation because it has all the students in it and saying their names and things. But as we were able to share the final product with the parents, that was a really fun way for them to hear their child talk about their legacy and for the second grade teacher to start the next year out with sharing those with the kids too. One other final thing about that's kind of a fun magical thing in Canva that you saw in, I've just got all these different slides open as you can see, but in the beginning one, you also saw that there was a little animation to this one. And so each of the kids had fun doing this in Canva as well. So as you put your picture into Canva, as long as you click on it and you click this little animate button up on the top, your image is selected. You have to make sure that Canva AI is turned on in your Canva account. But there's this little thing called image to video. And if you just use the smart image to video, it's just going to kind of look at the image that's on your screen and it's going to think about how can AI use this image and create some animation. So as we think about Coco the Doodle and we talk about some of these dancing animals that we're seeing on YouTube and we're seeing all these different places, this one isn't very interesting. Wonder if we could do a little generate again. That one was just kind of zooming in and out. A lot of the times the broccoli cat, the tail can be wagging, and one time the ear went down, and they kind of give a little, you know, more cat-like motion. So we'll see if it does it the second time too. But this was another way for the students to learn just how easy computer programs can just make animations and video as well. And they were able to see a lot of their images that they used come to life. Oh, didn't do a great job with this one. We'll try it with the space traveling penguin too. So we'll just go in here. Actually, let's just use one of the images that the kids made and we'll see what it does. So this was talking about, I had a teacher actually that was talking about using this kind of project at the beginning of the year as the class was sort of establishing all of their class rules and expectations and things they were going to do, that they could create some images that went with what are those expectations in our classroom at the beginning of the year. And so we were talking about like, what does quiet reading look like in our classroom? So this was a AI generated image that did that. So let's see if this does a little bit something more interesting than the cat when we do the AI image to video. And this is all just a Canva trick inside using Canva AI. Give it just a couple seconds. Hang with us. Oh, that's more interesting. So we've got all the kids participating, raising their hand, the teacher saying something interesting, and it just took exactly what was happening, you know, the picture, and created its own smart video out of that. So just another little fun trick that you might be interested in with that as well. All right, so we were there. I think we're done with this slide deck. We're done with this slide deck. Hang with me here. All right, so now we've got all the students, they've gotten their AI image, they've used Canva to record their talking head, and we've got a really cool presentation that we're going to be giving to the parents. But the last kind of culminating thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to bring the legacy to life, and we wanted to make a song. So I'm going to use two products here, and we're going to use Gemini here and then another one called Suno. I do pay for the Suno one just because we were creating so many projects. I think it's $5 a month if you want to use it for one time of your project, and then, you know, sort of get out of it. But what we did is we went in and we took all of the second grade prompts. So I'm going to kind of quickly do this and just grab all of the prompts here. And we're going to go back into Gemini. I'm going to start a new chat. So what you saw barely was all of the prompts that I had written out of the students that were used in order to create the images. And so I'm going to just go into Gemini. I'm going to say create song lyrics for a second grade legacy project with the prompts they used to show how their basic needs were met in second grade, and they can leave this as a legacy for the incoming class. Keep it positive. The other thing that I did do, oops, and I forgot to write all the things in there, so let's see if it will. Let's just stop it here, and we're going to go in and create a new chat, and I'm going to paste all of that in there. Create song lyrics out of these prompts from second grade students about leaving their legacy in second grade. Now, obviously, I was a little bit more wordy and more specific in my first prompt, but just for the element of time. So I pasted all the prompts that the students had, and I put in and I said, you know, create some song lyrics. I gave a very general instructions this time. What we did with the students is I asked Gemini in the song to make sure that each student's name was included with their prompt. So when we were able to see the song, it mentioned each student specifically, and then also kind of gave a little analysis of what their prompt was, which was really cute. My daughter's second grade hockey coach does this for a lot of their games. Is he'll put all the girls' names in there and then create a song that has something motivational, positive to say about each of the kids. Okay, we just want. Here's a short lyrics of the song. Okay, what happened here? We're gonna just go and do a new prompt. I am so sorry about that. Let's see if we did this. Okay, so, oh my goodness, and here I go again. Hang with me. Create song lyrics for a second grade legacy song out of these prompts that were used. I'm just going to say that were prompts because it is specific in Gemini. Will create an actual song for you, a 30-second song. which I don't want it to do. I just want the lyrics, because Suno is the thing that I like to go in and actually start creating the songs. So here is one. This one did use a lot of the students' names. So revise to not have student names. And we just want it to sort of be a culmination of a song that we created. So anyways, we're using Gemini to create song lyrics, okay? So this is called The Second Grade Way, our legacy song. We want it to be upbeat and energetic. That's fine. But what I'm going to do is I am just going to copy the lyrics that it put in here. So as we look at this, it says something like, start the day on the carpet with a neon glow, tackling tough math problems, watch our power grow, snacking on the carpet and laughing loud, playing chess in 3D style, making our teachers proud. So it used some of those prompts of the style too, which is kind of funny. But we're going to go into now Suno. So if Suno is new to you, it's kind of a wild and fascinating place where you can create some online music very quickly. So I'm going to go into Suno and just click on the create button. I can create via audio, voice, inspiration. I can have the song description. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to paste our lyrics that Gemini created. Reminder to take out any of those AI things that were said at the beginning or the end. So like, here are the song lyrics for a second grade legacy song. You don't want those things in your lyrics. You really just want the verses and things like that. The other thing that you can do here is you can go in and talk about the style. So we talked a little bit about what everybody's favorite music was and what they like to listen to. And so we'll do a hip hop and rap style. Okay. And really all we do is we just click create. So now Suno is taking, and Lauren, you're going to have to help me to just sort of see if we can hear out of this. I'm not sure. In Google Meet, you can usually share the Chrome tab. We'll have to see if people can hear it. But you can see here now, Suno is giving me two different versions of the second grade way. It's kind of, putting them together here, and it's going to give me the ability to listen to any of them. So let's play this. And Lauren, you can tell me in the comments or the private chat if people can hear it.
No, I can't hear it.
Can we hear it?
No, I can't hear it.
Okay. I wonder if I share in a little bit of a different way. Audio. One second. Let's present. Nope, not a video file. Let me just stop my screen share really quick and just see if, I don't know if I can in another way. Sorry about that. You'll have to sort of trust me that it goes. You can just put our Suno back up in there too. And let me just see if I can just share it really quick. And then you guys, if you're live with us, you'll be able to just open this up and play if you would like to. Sorry, I wasn't logged in to be able to be in the chat there. So there is the chat of the song if you're interested in just kind of listening to it. So we've gone through and made a couple of these in a lot of different ones, and the kids sort of adapted one with a couple different versions of it, and it really truly became sort of their class anthem for the year. They can all sing it. They can all dance to it too. It's really, really fun. So that was kind of a fun defining moment at the end. So really what we were able to do was kind of blend technology, art, and then also heart of just this idea of kind of leaving a lasting legacy moment into, share this tab instead, into blending AI literacy with also this really kind of cool project that we did. We in second grade did the rap, we did a pop, and we did heavy metal as three different ways that the students were able to enjoy that. When you have the slide deck too, you can go into Class Song, and I've at least just posted one of those, which is really fun. So those were kind of the different ways that we were able to do that. So the second graders were able to leave that as a legacy. And then the teacher is able to go in and share that in a way that she can welcome the incoming students. So like I told you, I kind of wrote all of this information up in a little bit of a blog post that we'll be sharing and snippets and lots of different ways too. But just one thing that you might be able to do, and I can just share this in the comments too. And Lauren, my comments aren't posting right now, so we might need to put that in there. I'm not sure if you have to monitor them. I can put this in the private chat, and maybe you can put it in there for them too. But what I was able to do is if you download this as a PDF, for some reason that sort of is a little bit of the better way that I was able to do that. You can also add from Drive, but you might not be able to do it as easily. A little bit better if you have the PDF. But if you would go to Gemini and just go into a new chat, you can always upload files or add files from Google Drive. And so if I might upload this blog post and say, take this project from a second grade class and modify it for a, let's just say 7th grade science classroom, provide 3 ideas where we could use Nano Banana, Gemini, and Canva to do a similar project. Okay, so you could take your content curriculum, you just put it right in there, and put it into Gemini, add the PDF there as well, and it's going to give you 3 different ideas that you could start exploring as well. I'm going to share one last thing. I know we probably won't go to the top of the hour within this, but okay, so here's the adaption. Day 1, AI literacy, from 2nd grade SEL to 7th grade science. You're going to do AI as a lab assistant instead of the robot brain. You're going to do structured scientific modeling, exact labels, Nano Banana, generate accurate diagrams. That would be really interesting. 3 different projects, the micro to macro interactive field guide. There was another one that was like extreme earth and time travelers. That could be interesting. And AI Mythbusters, the physical science and hallucination audit. So 3 different ideas that you could sort of explore further. So just ask Gemini to kind of create a project that's similar to this, or I want my students to learn about AI literacy and Nano Banana. Tell me different ways that we could explore that in my classroom and content. The last thing that I did that I'll share with you is because this was a project that we did over time, and I was sort of exploring different ideas in different ways and what the students needed to learn, is in Gemini, there's something called a gem. And what gems are is they are kind of specific AI chatbots that you build for a specific project. So I wanted to, every time that I went into Gemini, I didn't want to say, I'm doing a 2nd grade project. We're talking about AI literacy. We're going to use a legacy project on the basic needs, blah, blah, blah. So I created this gem, and I can go in and I believe edit it somehow. And what we did is we were able to go in and, why can I not edit my gem? Maybe I have to go from this side. I was able to give it specific instructions that it listened to every time that I went to this particular chatbot. So like the whole project was all about the 2nd grade legacy project. Here's the project that we're going to be doing. Here are the basic needs. Here's what the students are going to be doing. And then I even was able to sort of like add in all the different things that we used in the project, so that each time I went into this specific gem, I could just say, share a way that we could continue our AI literacy learning. So my chatbot already knows everything that we've done before and everything that we've talked about within this project. So it knows how to continue our learning based on what was already embedded in there. So when you go into Gemini, you can start creating gems for certain projects that you're doing and sort of instruct this AI chatbot to know things every time that you go into it instead of having to repeat yourself in every prompt. It allows you to be more specific. So here is, the second grade project to build on your student success as AI chefs. We're going to play Spot the Robot blooper, interactive co-writing, an AI privacy shield. So these are some different things. And then at the end, it's always going to kind of prompt you, hey, do you want anything else? Do you want a step-by-step lesson outline or a printable worksheet that you could do with those? So in conclusion, that is just what we've been able to do. We've talked about how the students could use technology with art and heart. They're thoughtful creators, not passive consumers. And even when they are consumers of all of this content, even with their experience of seeing how things are made and how things are created, I think their eyes, their detective eyes and their caps that are wondering about different things really is important for them in all of those aspects of learning. So hands-on, AI literacy, building empathy and kindness. There's some technology, it's not all technology. Talking about the responsibility that they have, is kind of leaving a legacy. And then really kind of connecting it to really like the humans in charge. We are the humans that create all of these things. This is something you should be proud of. And here's something that you can leave as kind of a legacy marking that project. So we hope that you could be inspired to do something like this. This is what Design for Learning does, is we design projects and professional development opportunities like this with schools all around. So we'd be happy to sit down, chat with you to see where you're at in your AI journey, what kind of interesting things you need to kind of expand thinking on and or professional learning for teachers in any way that you can. So reach out to us with anything, and thank you so much for coming. Lauren, were there any questions before we kind of ended the broadcast?
No, I haven't seen any questions come in. We can wait
Awesome.
a minute and then we can go ahead and pop off.
Awesome. Oh, you were able to access that. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm not sure why those weren't posting in the chat, but yeah.
I know. I think I was maybe not logged into something of it. So anyways,
Maybe.
That's fine. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for coming, and reach out if you need anything. Thanks.